to you too.
Yeah.
So,
Great.
By the way, July 18th is also Marie's birthday.
Yes.
Yes, that's right.
oh,
Whoa.
Put that on your calendar.
Don't you want to sleep in that day?
apparently not.
I'll sleep until 4.
She'll be sending her registry out to everybody as well, so you can take
Yes.
a look.
Five o'clock.
Okay, good evening. And we will start our meeting today. Today is Tuesday, July 5th, 2022. This is the Danville Town Council meeting. I'm Newell Ironrich, Mayor this year, joined by fellow council members. And we will officially start this meeting by asking our city clerk, Marie Sunseri, to call the roll.
Councilmember Fong,
Here,
Councilmember Morgan,
Here,
Councilmember Stepper,
Here.
Vice Mayor Storr,
Here.
and Mayor Arnerich.
Here.
All council members are present.
Great, thank you. And tonight we have a fairly limited agenda, and just would like to note that we are joined by our town manager, Joe Calabrigo, who we'll also be hearing from tonight. Our city attorney is away and excused to be not here tonight. So the next item is under announcements 1 through 2. And Marie, would you like to make the public announcements?
Yes, this meeting is being held by teleconference only, and if anyone would like to address the council this evening, please use the raise hand feature in Zoom, and your name will be announced, and you'll have 3 minutes to make your comments. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Marie. And this takes us to item number 2, which is the Pledge of Allegiance. And we have asked none other than Dave Fong, our council member, to lead us in the pledge tonight. And if everybody would please mute yourself, except for Dave.
there you go. Thank you, Mayor. It would be my honor to lead the Pledge of Allegiance. Good evening, everyone. Please place your right hand over your heart. 1 second here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Fong. And now this takes us to the item number 3 for changes to the order of the agenda. Joe, do we have any changes tonight?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have no changes to the agenda this evening.
Okay, great, thank you. And item number 4, this is called for the good of the town. This is an opportunity for anybody that's here tonight who would like to address the council on anything that is not specifically on tonight's agenda. And because it's not on the agenda, we can take it under advisement and or refer it to staff for future discussion. However, we cannot make any comments on it. And if you would like to make any comments, you have up to 3 minutes, and you can use the virtual raise hand feature in Zoom, and we will call on you. So if there's anybody at this time who'd like to speak for the good of the town, please use your virtual raise hand. I do not see any at this time. And Marie, do you see anybody?
There are no requests to speak at this time.
And did you receive any written comments?
And there were no written comments on any of the agenda items received in advance of the meeting this evening.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. So we'll close the public comment section under for the good of the town. And this takes us to item number 5, which is proclamations. And we're delighted tonight that we have Adam Falcon from our Parks, Arts, Recreation Commission here, who will be receiving, as the chair of our commission, a presentation declaring July as Parks Make Life Better Month. So Adam, I'm going to read this and then I'll let you say a few words afterwards. So the proclamation, Parks Make Life Better Month of July 2022, whereas Parks and Recreation promotes physical, emotional, and mental health and wellness through organized and self-directed fitness, play, and activity. And whereas Parks and Recreation creates memorable experiences through youth sports and enrichment activities, teen centers and programs, senior activities and centers, adult fitness and enrichment programs, free community events, and beyond. And whereas Parks and Recreation supports human development and endless learning opportunities that foster social, intellectual, physical, emotional growth in people of all ages and abilities. Whereas Parks and Recreation fosters social cohesiveness in communities by celebrating diversity, providing spaces to come together peacefully, modeling compassion, promoting social equity, connecting social networks, and ensuring all people have access to its benefits. And whereas the town of Danville urges all of its residents to recognize that Parks and Recreation enriches the lives of its residents and visitors, as well as adds value to the community's homes and neighborhoods. And whereas July is Parks and Recreation Month nationally, now therefore be resolved, the Danville Town Council does hereby proclaim July 2022 as Parks Make Life Better Month in the town of Danville, and in doing so urges all of its citizens to use and enjoy its parks, trails, and open space facilities and recreation opportunities. And Adam, I'd like to pass this to you virtually and just welcome if you want to unmute yourself and say a few words. And on behalf of the council, first of all, thank you and all of your fellow residents for serving and helping make this such a great community through your efforts.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you everybody for having me. That was a wonderfully well-worded proclamation. I'm not sure there is much more I could add that demonstrates the value of our park system. A few things that I would like to highlight is, first of all, our parks and recreation system and the public investment would all be for moot if it wasn't for our amazing staff that execute our direction. And I don't think I'm in the minority by saying we have the best parks and recreation staff in any municipality I've been involved in. So great hires there, and I encourage a continued investment there. The second thing I want to highlight is the transcendental appeal of the investment in our parks. There isn't a special group that benefits from this. This appeals and provides benefits to all of our constituents across all cultures, across all age groups. It's really limitless. It benefits both our physical and our mental health. And I want to put an emphasis on the mental health, as these last few years have provided taken a toll on all of us. And I think that our park system was a great outlet for that and will continue to be in future months and years to come. I think everyone here is doing an amazing job. And I want to again thank you on behalf of the commission and our staff partners for your continued support in what I consider the crown jewel of our government here, which is our park system. So thanks, everybody. Take care.
Well said. And we share that same pride and note that, yes, it's at the top of the list. Karen Stepper.
Just want to make a comment about Friday and Saturday, seeing that Summer of Love piano, as people are calling it, had finally gotten painted with an incredibly beautiful artistic work by our parks. Ashley, the young lady who did the artistry, was there with her family taking photos. She brought the bench on Saturday and started with Fleur de Lis. So I can't say as I can play that song anymore, but she played it beautifully. And it's really fun that everybody in the community can see you, not just that piano, but our other pianos. So sit down and play.
Well done. Vice Mayor Storer.
Oh, it's great, Adam. Thank you. And congratulations on becoming chair. They saw something there. I appreciate that.
Of course I did.
Yeah, joke's on them, everybody.
I want you to know that you're absolutely right. The parks, when we go to our parks, and it doesn't matter which, pick a park, you go there, and there is so much for so many to do, and it's really encouraging to see how many people were actually in the parks during COVID. And you're right, that was an outlet that was just so important and necessary for mental health. I mean, just physical health is important, emotional health, but mental health is really something that we need to look at. So thank you for all you do on the Parks Commission. Please pass on to the Parks Commission how proud we are of all the great work they do. And if there's anything we can do to help, and we're happy to do that as well. Parks are important to us.
Great, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, seeing none, let's, Adam, just again, as they said, thank you. Enjoy the summer. Look forward to seeing you at the parks, or the free concerts are coming up, and all the other fun activities. So thank you.
I'll see you there. Take care.
All right, thank you. So we'll go to item number 6, and this is the consent calendar. And tonight, those are items number 6.1 through 6.6. The consent calendar are items that are considered routine or previously been discussed by the council and can be acted on in one motion. However, if there's anybody in the council who would like to remove one for discussion, please let me know now if there's anything you'd like to remove. Seeing none, we will also ask our folks that are attending here today, if there's anybody in our audience who would like to remove a consent calendar item for discussion. You will have up to 3 minutes to make comments. And if you would use your virtual raise hand feature in Zoom at this time, we will call on you. So if there's anybody who would like to pull an item, please use your Zoom raise hand feature. I do not see anyone. Marie, do you see anyone as well?
No requests to speak at this time.
Okay, great. Then we'll close the public comment on our consent calendar. And is there a motion by the council?
I'd like to
approve
move
consent.
go ahead.
No, please.
Thank you. I'd like to
I'll
move the
second whatever
consent
Karen says.
agenda. All right. The consent, sorry, the consent calendar, I'm going to say it clearly. We're going to make a motion on the entire consent calendar for 6.1 to 6.6.
Second that.
Thank you. So it's been moved by Councilmember Stepper, seconded by Vice Mayor Storr. Any further comment? Seeing none, Marie, would you please call roll?
Councilmember Fong,
Yes.
Councilmember Morgan,
Yes.
Councilmember Stepper,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Storer,
Yes.
and Mayor Arnerich.
Yes.
The consent calendar was approved unanimously.
Great, thank you. And this takes us to item number 7, which is our monthly town manager report by none other than Joe Calabrigo. Joe, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Town Council. Happy month of July. July 1, last Friday, marked the beginning of a new fiscal year for the town. So our fiscal years run July 1 through June 30. So believe it or not, we're into 2022-23. Here already. July 1st, I should mention, also marked the 40th anniversary of the town's incorporation as a general law city, one of 482 cities in the state of California. So that was a bit of a milestone that we marked on July 1 as well. So I'll start on the legislative front. You all received at your June 21st, your last regular meeting, you got a pretty comprehensive update from Diane Friedman, our deputy town manager. And then the council's legislative committee met on the 28th, the week after that. We're continuing to track several bills that, if passed into law, are going to impact the town on a variety of subjects, ranging from the continued onslaught on housing to modifying the rules yet again for ADUs, to other things like fees and transportation, making it more difficult for the town to obtain or retain some essential transportation funding. Last Friday on the 1st, the Mayor's Town Talks program was devoted to this subject. The mayor had Sam Cagle from the League of California Cities and Nicolo DeLuca and Andres Ramirez from Townsend Public Affairs on the program to have, I think, really a pretty comprehensive discussion about how the legislative process works and the town's ongoing efforts to influence legislation of interest to Danville. So a very good program. Community outreach, happy to say that our summer of 22 Live Locally quarterly newsletter has now landed in everyone's mailboxes. Lots of great information on a variety of topics in the newsletter, including all of our summer events and activities, and updates on a lot of other projects and programs. So want to urge folks that might be watching this to read through the quarterly newsletter. I know I'm biased, but it is certainly, if not the finest, among the finest quarterly newsletters that I've seen cities distribute to their communities. Work is continuing on the new downtown master plan, reimagining our downtown's future, working with the SWA group. January through June were spent on things like the community outreach survey, workshops with our commission, with the town council, the presentation of the preliminary placemaking strategies to the council last month, and then also the presentation and analysis of priority projects and improvements that might be considered. So we are continuing to accept public input on the draft of the new downtown master plan into August, when it will be back before the town council for final consideration. This, as you're aware, sort of dovetails with our processing of the updated general plan housing element. All of the cities in the state have to update their housing elements every 8 years. So I don't really want to count how many times I've done that since I've been here. It's been a few. We have conducted the most extensive housing element outreach that we have ever done, certainly, and that I've ever seen as an outreach effort on the part of any city. So this has been ongoing since March of last year, so better part of a year and a half. The town is required to plan for a minimum of 2,241 new homes, and so the job before us is to figure out where and how to accommodate those housing numbers. The latest step in this process, and this press release went out this morning with the town's launch of the housing plan simulation tool as a part of this exercise. So this tool that is available to folks online lets users create and submit their own version of a housing element to help us achieve the required 2,241 units. And they do that by assigning housing units to potential sites on a virtual map that's provided. Most of the potential housing sites that they will be choosing from were identified through the public input process, where community members identified, I believe it was 99 separate sites for the town to consider. And so that the town will be able to consider all sites that meet the state criteria as part of that simulation tool. We will be hosting 3 workshops, online workshops during the month of July to provide guidance on how to use the simulation tool and also to answer questions about the housing element update. This simulation tool is part of a site inventory analysis, which is part of our draft housing element that is now available for public review. And folks can review and or download a copy of that on our Town Talks website, www.danvilletowntalks.org/housing element. Public comment for the initial draft of the housing element is going to close on August 1. Those comments will be incorporated into an updated draft that we will then send off to the State Department of Housing and Community Development for them to review. And that final draft of the housing element, reflecting all of HCD's comments, will then be considered by the town, first by our Planning Commission in December, and then by the Town Council next January, in order to meet the state imposed deadline. Community events, full schedule of summer outdoor events is now well underway for the community to enjoy. Of course, really kicked off by the Danville Area Chamber of Commerce Summerfest that took place on the 25th and the 26th of last month. We had our first Music in the Park on the 25th with it was an ultimate tribute band to the 90s. So I always enjoy when people talk about the 90s in a historical context. And then, of course, yesterday, many of us were able to enjoy the July 4th parade, which was back really in full swing for the first time in 3 years. And although I have not heard any crowd estimates, I will tell you that good size crowd. The weather cooperated, and I think everyone was certainly in a festive mood, and the event went very, very well. A few other things that we've got coming up this month. We've got Moonlight Movies at the Town Green that'll be happening on the 15th and the 29th of the month. We've got 2 more Music in the Park events at Oak Hill Park. On July 9th, we will have a Latin rock group playing. And then on the 23rd, we have a Creedence Clearwater Revival tribute band that will be playing. So 90s tribute stuff is good, but the CCR stuff, you know, kind of goes back to the 60s and the 70s, runs a little bit more to my liking. So I'm looking forward to that one. We've got the first of our 2 Hot Summer Sundays car shows coming up on July the 17th. And then on the 16th, our latest public art display downtown, exhibit downtown, which is called Picture This, is going to start. So folks can watch for some uniquely designed kind of interactive picture frames that are going to be located throughout the downtown. And this project's a little different this year because we're doing it in as part of a Tri-Valley project. So all the 5 Tri-Valley cities will be participating in this. So folks who are interested can visit our events calendar on our homepage of our website. There's a lot of information about upcoming community events on there that are available for all different ages and members of our community to enjoy. Moving into development services, this area, of course, includes planning, building, transportation, engineering. I'll start by saying that our staff is pretty excited because we're in the process right now of hiring 1 planner, 2 transportation positions, and 1 public works inspector. So these are positions that have been held vacant for the better part of a couple of years due to the pandemic, and with the 22-23 budget, we've restored funding for these positions. So I think staff is very, very happy about that. With planning, of course, I've touched on the housing element in the downtown master plan. A couple other things to highlight, though. Trumark Homes, that has acquired the northern 7 acres of the Burrell property over on Camino Ramon. They have submitted an application to develop 160 townhomes on that 7 acres. That application is currently incomplete and undergoing some design changes to better buffer the development from the homes that are adjacent and to the north. 375 West El Pintado. This is a property address that by now is familiar to many of you because we've seen a lot of iterations of plans that have been submitted and in some instances approved on that property. And the latest and greatest version of that will be going to Planning Commission next Tuesday. These are revised plans for a 57-unit age-restricted senior housing project. So it'll be a for sale project. The property, the applicants are seeking a 20% density bonus pursuant to state law, and so that'll be before the Planning Commission. In transportation, on the neighborhood transportation management program side of things, I've mentioned previously, we're in the process of installing 7 new radar display signs that came about as a part of the Greenbrook, the recent Greenbrook NTMP that the council approved. So we'll have 2 signs going in on Greenbrook Drive, 1 on St. Christopher, 2 on San Ramon Valley Boulevard, and 2 on Sycamore Valley Road. Staff is currently working on 4 grant applications for MTC's One Bay Area Cycle 3 grant program. So the subjects include applications for the San Ramon Valley Street Smarts program, the Contra Costa Smart Signals project, and bicycle improvement projects that have been defined in our town-wide bicycle master plan. So those applications are due on the 15th, and Andrew Dillard is diligently working away. The town council recently appointed a new bike advisory committee. You did that at your last meeting. And so we are working with that commission to schedule their inaugural meeting and set some set their regular meeting calendar. So that is that's in the works. We're continuing work on the Diablo Road crossing design as part of the Diablo Road Trail project. And in the area of bike safety, also working to incorporate video detection upgrades for bikes as part of the design for the San Ramon Valley Boulevard Overlay and Slurry Seal project coming up later on this summer and fall. At engineering, the park and ride improvements, the phase 1 improvements that will connect the north end of the park and ride to the Iron Horse Trail and construct a clean water detention basin on the north end of that site. That work is out to bid. And the Camino Ramon Overlay and San Ramon Valley Boulevard Overlay and Slurry Seal projects. These are projects that, as I've been back to you over the last few months, first we were going to do Camino Ramon, followed by San Ramon Valley Boulevard. Then the order of those projects flip-flopped, and now it's flip-flopped back again most recently. Looks like the Camino Ramon Overlay project is going to start first, simply by virtue of the process involving Caltrans review on these projects. So tentative start date in September for Camino Ramon. Let's see, Central San is continuing with their project to install the new sewer line on Greenbrook Drive between Paraiso and Morning Home. Fingers crossed, but again, they're planning to have that completed before the start of school. And then with McGee Preserve, you may recall there was also some sewer work involved in that project to connect the sewer to the existing sewer in Diablo Road. Been a little bit of a delay on that work because they have identified an obstruction that they need to work around that has required them to redesign a segment of that pipeline, but they are still hoping to complete that work before the start of the school year. And save the best for last in development services, as you're all by now well aware. In building, we're pleased to announce that we have appointed a new chief building official here in Danville, and that would be our very own Stacy Gill, who has been with the town now for quite a while, and has essentially worked her way up through the ranks and done just about every job in the building division. And, just so that you don't think that I do all of these things myself, my little Apple Watch here is my friend Diane Friedman, who wants me to remind you that Stacy's been with us for 15 years. I kind of feel like Dick Tracy. And we're just as thrilled as we can be for Stacy, who, continues to be an outstanding employee. And we're just looking forward to working with her in this new role and continuing the excellent service that we're able to provide through the building division. So shifting over onto finance, not a lot of new stuff to talk about, closing out the 21-22 fiscal year, starting out with the new 22-23 fiscal year. Of course, continuing to track all of the ARPA funds and make sure that we keep the Department of the Treasury happy by meeting all of their reporting requirements. Still anticipating the receipt of the second tranche of funds, the $5.3 million, by the end of this month. Those funds, of course, have now been committed by the council through the 22-23 budget and CIP process. On the police front, you most recently received at your last meeting on the 21st of June, the quarterly update from Chief Shields. Been a lot going on since that last meeting, and unfortunately, we've experienced a couple of armed robberies within the last 2 weeks that have generated some understandable concern among our community members. The first that occurred on June the 21st, actually while the council meeting was going on, we had 3 armed suspects who robbed 4 women at gunpoint in front of the home of one of the victims, and then the second incident occurred last Friday on July the 1st, where we had 2 armed suspects who robbed a man at gunpoint in front of Trader Joe's at Danville Square. The July 1 robbery, happy to say that we have 3 suspects that were arrested and are in custody as a result of a cooperative effort that involved not only our police department, but the county sheriff's office and the Antioch Police Department. And we were able to recover that stolen property as well. The June 21 crime is still being actively investigated and worked. There are 5 suspects involved in that crime. There's a concerted effort that is ongoing right now to identify and arrest those responsible for having committed the crime. With both crimes, I will say that there have been numerous law enforcement personnel that have been allocated to solving these crimes. So both the Danville Police Department and the Contra Costa Sheriff's Office have deployed folks toward solving these crimes. With the crime that happened last Friday, immediately after that took place, I believe we had 6 to 8 detectives from the sheriff's office that had joined with our police personnel that were literally tracking those responsibles on their way from the crime scene back to their home base. Common to both crimes, and I think this is something to take note of, is that the victims traveled to locations that were outside of the community, were then at some point during that process observed or surveilled by others, and then followed back to Danville where the crimes occurred. So while we do, I think, take a great deal of pride in our police department and in the fact that we have a very safe community, it is still just a reminder to all of us to be mindful of when we're traveling, what our surroundings are, those who are around us, and so on. Our police department continues to look for ways to connect with the community in person. They will be available to visit neighborhoods upon request on National Night Out, which is on August the 2nd. And I should again mention, with this being the summer season, we want to remind our residents that our police department is available to conduct vacation checks on homes while they're away, and remind our residents as well that being a good neighbor means being alert, reporting if you see something that seems out of place. If you see something, say something, and urging folks to call the Danville PD if they see something that should be reported. On the maintenance front, summer season, lots of activity going on in the parks, and also lots of work getting done during the school's summer recess. The heat wave week before last caused us some some air conditioning problems in in various buildings, including the Village Theater dressing rooms, the Vets Hall, and the Swain House at Hat McGee Ranch Park. And so steps were taken to correct those problems. The Diablo Road median renovation project in front of the Green Valley Shopping Center has now been completed. Maintenance, of course, integral with our community events. They did a lot of prep work for the first Music in the Park event. A lot of tree pruning downtown in advance of the July 4th parade. And they certainly haven't forgotten how to clean up after the parade either. The streets were reopened shortly after noon, and you wouldn't have known that there was a parade that went through there with with tens of thousands of spectators. Work is also underway to reinstall some of our thermoplastic crosswalks at various school locations where they're needed. This is not happening in every location, but trust me, when you come upon one, as I did over the weekend, that had just been redone on Sycamore Valley Road at Holbrook Drive, it certainly pops right off of the pops right out of the ground at you. You can't help but notice it. And I'm also happy to report that after at least a year, the O'Neill replacement pedestals for those pedestals that were shamefully vandalized are finally being refabricated, and we hope to have those back by the end of summer. So that's been a long and an arduous process. Recreation, Arts, and Community Services in celebration and recognition of Parks Make Life Better Month. In cultural arts, the Click exhibit is still being featured at the Village Theater Art Gallery. Some really remarkable photography featuring photographers from all over the US. So that will run through August the 12th. June 12th, we had a Schools Out for Summer concert in collaboration with the School of Rock San Ramon. So that was kind of cool. We had performers aged 8 to 19 that performed various types of music on the town green, everywhere from classical to punk rock. On June the 15th, we had our seasonal Kidchella event on the town green with the Ray Tones performing. Had about 150 people there, with families engaging in activities that included story time, a story walk, arts, crafts, in addition to the free concert. And then on June the 17th, the Moonlight movie, we featured Spider-Man No Way Home, and it included the League of Heroes Inspired, which is a nonprofit organization that focuses on therapy for victims of trauma, and they visit children's in hospitals. So they brought activities and games to the event, along with a variety of superheroes to prove that everyone has a superhero inside of them. With adults and seniors, our trip numbers are returning to the pre-COVID level in terms of attendance. Recent senior buzz sessions have included things like what can the police department do for you, why CBD supports chronic pain, anxiety, and our immune system, how to update your downsize, and how to be prepared for extreme heat. So something for everybody. Recent senior sneaker trip, it's a mouthful, to the Lavender Bee Farm included a tour of the farm and lavender lemonade tasting. The writing group has returned to the senior center after a 2.5-year hiatus. June 13th saw the relaunch of our lunch program for in-house lunches on Mondays. Usually get anywhere from 15 to 20 folks who come out for that, which is at or above where we were pre-COVID. And lunch is always followed by a movie, and the folks like to hang out and watch the movie afterwards. And then on June 22nd, they have a program called Craft Corner, which continues to be very, very popular. Most recently, I think they were making rustic American flag doorstops and displays, sort of getting ready for the 4th of July. Facilities, We had 61 picnic reservations in the month of June. So there's your factoid for today. Teens and youth camps, our first camps kicked off from June the 6th through July the 1st. We had 665 participants in 40 different camps. And that was followed up by Camp Danville that ran from June the 13th through July the 1st. So we had another 666 participants there. That was staged at Los Cerros Middle School, Oak Hill Park, Hat McGee Ranch Park, and then the Diablo Vista and Charlottewood Teen Center. So again, note to anyone who may be watching this meeting, check our activity guide on the website to see what kinds of activities and adventures await our residents of all ages in recreation. Quick COVID status and update. We continue to monitor the case count for Danville. And, you know, I would tell you that after hitting a peak at the end of January and a low by the end of March, things have kind of stabilized. April, May, June. We've been somewhere between about 335 and 225 new cases over a 14-day period. As of today, it's 256 new cases. We are the fourth, those are the fourth lowest numbers among the 19 cities in the county. Interestingly, the 3 La Miranda cities are 1, 2, and 3, followed by the rest of the county. So we're either number 4 or number 1 outside of La Miranda. The County Health Services website is describing their new Path to Zero program, which is an effort to stop preventable deaths in Contra Costa County by vaccinating, testing, and treating. So that 3-pronged approach. Their website also continues to be an excellent source of information for how and where people are able to obtain testing, their boosters, and so on. And I will just conclude with a reminder that the Danville Town Council will be returning to live town council meetings at your next upcoming regular meeting, which is on July the 19th. So on July the 19th, we will be back at the town meeting hall for the first time since March of 2020. Town meeting hall is at 201 Front Street. That meeting will start at 5 o'clock, and we will be back to live and in person. So just last reminder, don't forget to visit the town website at www.danville.ca.gov or our Town Talks website at www.danvilletowntalks.org, or by following us on Facebook or Instagram.
Great, Joe. Thank you for that update. I would just add to the announcement you made there at the end that while we'll be meeting live starting at 5 p.m. on July 19th at the town meeting hall, we will be going back to what we used to do, is where we broadcast our meetings live. And so you can watch the meetings both live and or watch them afterwards as they are all recorded. So, Joe, and thanks for all those great updates. And yes, an absolute successful, exciting 4th of July. Questions or comments from council member Karen Stepper?
All right, thank you. Just really a comment about two things. One is the Hat McGee Dog Park, which again won for the Diablo magazine, Best of the East Bay Dog Park. And so I wanted to point out kudos to Dave Castile for accomplishing that. Again, I had 2 people attest to that on my recent visit to that dog park, and to Rankin, which is a superior playground park for older kids in Martinez. who had a big dog, and they both talked about our park, and they all always ask about why it's grass. And I say, it's because all of you are here from San Ramon and Martinez because it's grass. So superior job. And number two, that the seniors took it upon themselves, the advisory commission, to want to be part of the parade and to point out how active the things are in our community for our seniors. So kudos to those people who are running the senior program here. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Karen. Any other comments or? Okay, seeing none. Joe, just a big thank you, I know on behalf of all of our council. The 4th of July parade was so exciting to have everybody back live. We had all the volunteers that we used to have, from police to East Bay Regional Parks to additional sheriff's officers. And I think we all felt a lot more secure knowing the extra presence, the security that was done for the parade. It did require some changes, but as we saw what happened in Highland Park, unfortunately, those things are necessary. But please pass on behalf of all of us here to all of our police volunteers and all the other police agencies and our team. Just a huge thank you for doing a great job.
And to Kiwanis.
And to Kiwanis, of course, to Kiwanis. Yes, thank you. Okay, this takes us to item number 8, which is under council reports. Are there any reports from the council? Yes, Renee Morgan.
Just really quick, I just wanted to mention that today the auction preview went live for the Museum of the San Ramon Valley, and I know that a lot of us are involved in that. Wanted to make sure that you had an opportunity, if you want to go on to their website, and it'll lead you directly to the auction. Next Monday, it goes, the preview goes off and it goes live for bidding. There's lots and lots of items on there. And if you have not got your tickets yet, for the 16th is the event for the Museum of the San Ramon Valley, and it is at the one-room schoolhouse, which most of our children have had the opportunity to have that experience in 4th grade, to go out there and take a historical day back in history when we all were at a one-room schoolhouse. So all of the funds go directly to help the museum. So if you haven't purchased your tickets yet, do so soon and take a look at the auction.
Great. And Renee, thanks for all your help on that too.
Oh,
It's a lot
thank
of
you.
work. Council reports, I'm going to add one thing. Team Danville won the bocce ball tournament, the annual tournament with
Yes.
League of East Bay cities. Pleasanton had that honor for at least 2 years in a row before COVID. Danville now owns that trophy. So thank you to all that got to play, and particularly our town manager who got to play in the bocce ball team.
Well, there's a downside to that, Newell, is that I've heard that our town manager has accomplished so many things in his illustrious career, except for gaining that trophy. And now that he's got that trophy, Sam Cahill says this may be the trigger that actually helps him figure out how to retire. And I'm thinking, there's so many more bocce ball tournaments out there.
Let's not talk about that part. Great, thank you.
You have a lot more to accomplish, sir.
I would like to then, if they're seeing no further business, I would like to adjourn this meeting on 2 notes. One, to recognize the 7 people who are lost in a community that looks and has the quality of life that we enjoy here in Danville, to those people who lost their life at Highland Park in Illinois. And also to give our thoughts and prayers to Paul Cowell and his wife, Susan. Susan just came home from the hospital today and had some real serious health things. So in your wishes and thoughts, please pass that along to Paul and Susan. And with that, our meeting is adjourned. And a reminder, we will be back live at Town Meeting Hall on Tuesday, July 19th at 5 p.m. at 201 Front Street. And with that, we adjourn this meeting.